between the Tigers and the Guardians, Padres and Cubs, Yankees and Red Sox. We will have the Game 3s today beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern Time here on ESPN Radio, ESPN Television, and ABC. An elimination game yesterday for the Cincinnati Reds, who lost to the Dodgers 8-4. So now you've got the Dodgers and the Phillies with Ohtani starting Game 1 against Philadelphia coming up in a few days here.
Did you know it's the 13th consecutive season the Dodgers are in the DS? 13.
How many?
13. It's so annoying. They're so good. They are so good. It's so annoying.
They're so good, and they're willing to spend whatever it takes to win every single year.
Man.
Isn't that what you want your baseball team to be?
Yeah.
I remember when my team used to be that way. It's a good feeling.
Well, your team has a Game 3 tonight against the Boston Red Sox.
They better win. They better win. That's all I know. They better win.
That's an
You will hear it here on ESPN Radio, unless Shedeur is doing play-by-play. Then you won't hear it, actually. We discussed a lot of the Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, Joe Flacco conversation in the first hour of the show. If you missed any of that, you can go back on the podcast and listen, as well as the fact that, unfortunately, Brock Purdy out tonight with the Niners and the Rams.
I do want to say something about the Shedeur conversation because we got into the interesting angle of it. Has he earned the opportunity to play? He hasn't done that so far. That is factually accurate. We do have to also acknowledge in the same breath, though, he did earn the opportunity to be on this roster. He earned that, right? When you're a fifth-round pick, that's not given to you. There is no lock, especially with how crowded that quarterback room was. They had 5 quarterbacks that they had in training camp, right? Between Joe Flacco, Dillon Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson. Like, they got
Snoop
Huntley, Bailey. They had a ton of quarterbacks in training camp. Shedeur Sanders earned the opportunity to be on the roster. He was good enough where the Cleveland Browns thought enough of him to trade away Kenny Pickett, who they traded a 5th-round pick to acquire earlier in the offseason. So even though he's not on the field, I do think we have to acknowledge that he has been good enough where the Cleveland Browns do want to keep him around because they believe at some point he can contribute to their team's overall success. Remember, preseason game, Carolina Panthers, he lights it up. Andrew Berry, the general manager, and Shedeur on the sidelines yucking it up. And Shedeur is talking to Myles Garrett and saying, man, I would want to see what it's like to be hit by you. And Myles says, no, you don't. We're going to need you. That was his impressions of Shedeur Sanders up until that point before Shedeur has the oblique injury. So I do think we have to be careful in terms of how we're framing it when it comes to earning the opportunity. Fact of the matter is, Dillon Gabriel was taken before Shedeur Sanders. Dillon Gabriel is going to get an opportunity before Shedeur Sanders to see what he's got.
Quick follow-up. Right now, is Shedeur Sanders closer to starting or closer to being on another team?
I would say closer to starting.
Smalls?
Yeah, I would say closer. Well, yeah, I would say closer to starting.
I tell you, more of that happens yesterday, it's going to be closer to being on another team. It's not like he did anything so horrible to any human being or anything like that. It's just attention does not. He's Shedeur Sanders. Attention is drawn to him because he's Shedeur Sanders. You don't need to add to it, right? You don't have to subtract from it, but you just got to keep it neutral. Let us do the talking, not you. And I know, and then he could easily respond and say, well, I didn't do the talking. Actions speak louder than words. So actually let the less vocal thing, which is your voice, speak louder than your actions. Yeah, Rex said what he said. I'm here on the Cleveland Browns. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm in a room every day with Dillon and Joe and Bailey, and I'm trying to get ready for the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, but Rex said you don't study. Kevin Stefanski's my head coach. Andrew Berry's my general manager. Tommy Reed's my offensive coordinator, and those are the people that know the truth, and I'm not going to comment on that.
You don't even have to do that. You can just say, I didn't see it. I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about Dillon Gabriel and what he's going to bring to this football team. I mean,
I don't like lying, though, because I think that's a lie. He obviously saw it.
But you don't have to engage with it.
Yeah.
You don't have to engage with it.
Just a quick little aside on that. Joe Girardi, former manager of Major League Baseball, I did a weekly show with him in 2006 on ESPN West Palm. And I would talk to him during the week, and I'd say, hey, Joe, I got to ask you about all these things that are happening here. And he always would say to me, you do your job, I do my job. I would ask him every question that had to be asked, and he never answered them with words.
Yeah. Bill Parcells used to always tell us, you write the story, not the other way around. They can ask you all the questions, but your answers are what writes the story. Make sure that when you write the story, it's respectful of you, your teammates, your coaches, and your family. That's it. And yesterday, I thought what Shedeur did was miss the mark. But again, I understand there's a human element to it, and he's a young 20-something kid that has been in the spotlight his entire life. This is not going to be perfect in terms of how he handles it.
All right. Well, in terms of writing the story,
you should start a consulting firm, by the way, for coaches and players, telling them what to say in the media.
You should.
You should, because
just watch Belichick. What do you mean?
No, every time somebody has a misstep, you have the perfect answer in terms of how they should respond versus what they actually do.
And he'll go, ask me the question. Ask me the question, and then you answer it.
You should start a consulting firm.
Okay.
No, we've tested you. You're good.
Shedeur, Rex Ryan had some things to say about you and your preparation or potentially lack thereof on ESPN. Did you see the comments? And if so, what is your response?
Yeah, I mean, Rex does a great job on television. He was a great defensive coach. And I think my goal is to study hard and work hard to be able to play against a team like a Rex Ryan coach defense where I can understand every part of it. And that's what I'm doing every day with my teammates, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and our great coaches. What the hell are you going to say to respond to that? I mean...
Next question.
Yeah. And, speaking of writing your own story, A.J. Brown did that by a tweet post-game on Sunday. And everybody was buzzing about, his frustration after that game. And A.J. Brown addressed the media, that is the Eagles wide receiver, of course, about his frustrations. He said he let his frustrations boil over.
Sunday after the game, I let my frustrations boil over. I didn't speak to the media. I had a chance to correct my frustrations, and I continued to let it boil over. That's on me. I take full accountability on that. My message on Twitter wasn't directed at anyone in the building. My coaches, not my quarterback, my GM, nobody. Like I said, I take full accountability. I have open communication with all my coaches and with my quarterback as well. Me and my coaches, KP, Nick, we discuss weekly about trying to get this thing on the same page. So yeah, there you go.
Okay, let's stop there. CC, I know you took something very specific out of what he said in that clip.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I do want to acknowledge that A.J. Brown did a great job at being able to address the comments that he made on social media, and he took full accountability for it. It wasn't the right thing to do. He apologized for it, and he showed respect to everybody involved, anybody that could be attached to the subtweets that he put out and construing it as a criticism. So I thought he did a great job of being able to diffuse a situation that a lot of people outside of the building view as volatile. Now, the one thing that I thought was a little bit odd is that he did call everybody involved by name except Jalen Hurts. And it gives some level of credence to what Brandon Graham intimated last year, the personal issues between the two. And you just wonder, with the struggles that they've had in the passing game, is the personal relationship potentially going to have an impact on what we see on the field? Now, as far as target share, A.J. Brown is getting the ball thrown in his direction. He has the biggest target share of any receiver on the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know whether those are quality targets or not. I mean, that's up for debate. But I will say this. I think that Jalen Hurts has done a great job at being able to navigate this and not create any inflammatory headlines by anything he does or anything he says. And the reality of the situation is this: they've won together. So regardless of what you think their personal relationship is, they've clearly shown the ability to be able to work past it and to have success at the highest level.
Well, isn't that what Brandon Graham said when he addressed their relationship last season? He said exactly what you just brought up, CC. He said they were friends before this, but things have changed, and I understand that because life happens. But it's the business side that we have to make sure the personal doesn't get in the way of the business. And they didn't last year. They won the Super Bowl. Whatever pre-existing issues were there between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, it ultimately didn't matter because they won the Super Bowl. And I guess that's what you have to wonder about this season. He says it wasn't directed at anyone specifically, but clearly there was a reason, an impetus for you to let those frustrations boil over and take it to social media. Clearly there was a message that you wanted to be heard, and whether it's you wanted the fans to hear it, whether it's you wanted that specific person in the huddle or in your locker room to hear it, that's only for him to know. But he understands that when he does something like that and he takes it to the public, we're going to react to it. We are going to take that on a silver platter, and we're going to try to analyze what's going on with them because they're at the top of the food chain. They are the champs. So we are going to look at this undefeated team and try to mine for any little reason why we think that they're not going to be able to repeat. And he gave us one, but he did a good job of walking it back yesterday. And as long as he and they can do what you just talked about and what Brandon Graham talked about and not let that boil over and affect the football side of things, they'll be just fine.
But here's the thing. It's all good when you're winning, right? I mean, games that Jalen Hurts starts and finish, what do they won? 20 straight? 21 straight? It's a ridiculous number. The question happens when this team faces adversity. If they lose a couple games and the passing game doesn't look good, the running game can't get going like it was last year. What happens then with the relationship between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown? Does it devolve? Does the team spiral like it did in 2023? Those are the things that we're wondering about. Remember, we questioned a lot about the sports character of that locker room in that season where they lost 6 of the final 7 games. And Nick Sirianni said it himself, he didn't have any answers. Same guys, same talent. We questioned a lot of that. So I'm curious to see what happens if it ends up happening, if those guys face adversity in a significant way this season. And inevitably they are, because it's hard for teams to go back-to-back. What happens? Does the personal get in the way of the professional in terms of the on-field product?
A.J. Brown also commented yesterday during the media session about working to be on the same page with his offense and his quarterback.
Yeah, so we're always working to get on the same page. It's not that much of communication because of, like, during the game, I'm not the person that's on the sidelines saying, give me the ball, so I don't understand where people said he was forcing me the ball because I'm complaining. But if you ask any of my teammates, I'm probably the quietest one on the sideline. I don't even go to the huddle during the timeouts. I try to let the game come to me, and I don't even tell KP, call this and call that. That's the player I am.
KP, Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator. Am I nuts to think they're good, they move past this, everything's fine? Or because it's now popped up multiple times, they're not actually past this unless he gets a number of receptions that he's looking for?
Oh, I don't think it's that. I think it's the offense being able to get going. And he's frustrated when the offense is not doing its thing. He wants to be a part of the solution, and he's not being involved in that way. I think that's what I took the comments as.
But what if the offense gets going as a result of 40 carries in a game by Saquon? I'm just making that up. Is he okay with that?
I think he's okay with that.
Okay.
I think he's okay with that. But here's the thing. That hasn't happened.
Understood.
Last year, Saquon Barkley was getting 4.2 yards per carry before contact, before he was even touched. This year, it's less than half of that. It's 1.8. The offensive line is dealing with some injuries. Landon Dickerson banged up. Lane Johnson banged up. So it's not the same. And if the offense is struggling, A.J. Brown is saying he wants to be the catalyst to get them going. And he was. You got proof of concept in the LA Rams game in that second half. They fed 11 and he delivered. He's saying he can continue to do that if the offense is struggling. And last week against the Bucs in the second half, the offense was struggling. They didn't complete a pass. The 2 worst passing halves of football this year have come from the Philadelphia Eagles in successive weeks. And A.J. Brown is a big part of that aspect of the team. So I guess that's the frustration. I get it. But again, this is one of those situations where A.J. Brown has to know better, because people are going to take what he does, what he tweets, and run with it. Now, he did a great job yesterday of diffusing it. He walked all of that stuff back. But it is something for us to keep an eye on, and it is something that we will talk about if and when the Philadelphia Eagles struggle.
And if there is legit beef at any point, as great as A.J. Brown is, he's not going to win that battle.
Oh, no.
And he knows that, I'm sure, going in. Jalen Hurts is going to win that battle, if that's what the battle actually is.
Yeah, but you got to feel a way about that, though. If you're A.J. Brown, as good as he is at his job, you got to feel a way about that.
That position is not as valuable as the one that Jalen Hurts plays.
Oh,
we all know that.
Jalen Hurts, like I've said, Jalen Hurts top 5 quarterback, not 5.
That's right. I would agree with you. All right, we need some energy. We're either going to do one of two things right now. Either Jazz Chisholm's going to come in